In this Nitty-Gritty Basics Let's Play live stream, we're going to be playing American Mah Jongg using the 2024 National Mah Jongg League card, and we're going to be playing at I Love Maj. Today's topic is on critical thinking, so we're going to spend a little time in the exercise room at I Love Maj, which is one of the wonderful reasons to play there. They've got all kinds of exercises that can help you build your skills, and I'll show you one of those today. And let's see, I want to say thank you so much for watching my videos. Moderators, thank you so much for helping monitor chat. Today's format is nitty-gritty, and that means we're not going to do any socialization in live stream chat. If you prefer gameplay with commentary and some socialization, join us on Fridays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Today, we're digging into the nitty-gritty, so we don't have time to socialize today, just today. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. Let me check to make sure everything is connected. Hello, Wes. Hi, Deborah. Welcome. Oh, live play tomorrow. Okay, excellent. Well, hopefully what I share today will help simplify decision making. That's the goal with today's topic. Simplify. Simplify. I'm hoping this will help you simplify. Okay, so let's see. I need to share my screen so we can get started. Here it is. American Mah Jongg Critical Thinking. 3 tactics to simplify Charleston decision making. And I have a bonus for you as well. So here we go. Before I share the topics, I just want to tell you that there's a reason why we do the Charleston. Technically, the game doesn't start until after East discards the first tile. So I like to call the Charleston the pre-game hand development accelerator. That is the purpose of the Charleston, to expedite hand development. Each player has the opportunity to quickly improve their hand with good decision making while exchanging up to 21 tiles in up to 7 passes. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But the whole idea is to accelerate the process, speed it up, expedite. I have heard that there are many groups that omit the second Charleston altogether because they think that the same tiles go around, but that's not always true. Sometimes you see the same tiles getting passed, but have you ever changed your mind? I have. When I change my mind during the Charleston, I let new tiles go. So it behooves everybody to continue the Charleston, the whole Charleston, even if it feels a little arduous at times. There's great benefit to participating in the full Charleston. Now, there are times when you might decline on that optional round. And I have videos that go into the options that you have when you're doing the Charleston. Everybody has options, and options are a good thing. But whether or not you opt into those is another story. You got to use sound judgment, good judgment. So let's talk about these tactics. There are 4 stages in hand development. When you first get your dealt hand, you target the strength of the hand. The strength of the hand is going to either be where a multiple is. So you're going to target a multiple, pair pung kong, and you're going to gather tiles to support it and choose a category that uses most of your tiles. And then now if you don't have a multiple, you target the predominant pattern until a multiple forms. American Mah Jongg is a game of multiples, so you want to look for ways to leverage those multiples. Every hand on the card uses them. So if you start with the end in mind, you're going to optimize hand development. So once you target the strength of the hand, then you're going to gather tiles for whatever category you've chosen. And eventually you'll be able to build your multiples. Some multiples are little. like the pairs and singles and pairs category, but there are multiples that are bigger, pom kong and even quint. So you're going to build in most cases, you're going to build up. And then of course, along the way, you're going to defend. Now, sometimes you might have to restart because let's say after the Charleston, or actually let's keep it during the Charleston for now, you might not see any movement with whatever direction you are trying to go. You could change your mind in the Charleston and then gather tiles that you saw going around in the first Charleston and just totally change tacks. So there is some reset at times. And then after the Charleston, maybe in the early game, someone makes an exposure with your tiles that you need and it destroys your hand. Well, you can switch. So there, sometimes you're going to need, there'll be situations where you need to retarget, regather, rebuild. Hopefully you'll have minimized exposures so that you have that flexibility to do it. So analyze each situation, identify alternatives, consider the choices, and then make a decision. With American Mahjong, I mentioned this very briefly, not with statistics, and we're not going to go too deep into this, but American Mahjong is a game of multiples, and this is why. If you look at the biggest bar on this graph, 85% of the hands use big multiples, which are pom kong quint. Big multiples, 85%. And then 64% use little multiples with pairs, so hands with pairs. Focus on multiples. American Mahjong is a game of multiples. There are also suits involved because we've got number tiles in 3 suits. So you're going to see opportunities for one suit with or without dragons. But if you think about it, one suit hands are in 25% of the hands versus 70% in mixed suits. So while you're gathering tiles for whatever category you've decided to play, gather all suits. And then when you run out of discards, decide if you're going to play a one suit hand or a mixed suit hand. And that should free up more discards to help you keep going during the Charleston. Also, during the Charleston, another key, it's a secondary key because you want to focus on hand development first. Focusing on your own hand development is the priority, but then you want to pass as defensively as possible with your remaining tiles because you don't want to help your opponents develop their hand. And that leads me to talking about some risky passes. One is with like numbers. Like numbers in a Charleston pass is almost as risky as passing a pair. And like numbers with number tiles, 44% of those are in other hands on the card. So even though there's only 3 like number hands in that one category on the left panel, there are like numbers all over the card. 44% of the hands on the card use like numbers. And I do want to mention something about wins, hopefully before we move on to the next slide. But I want to also share that flowers are also hot commodities. 42% of the hands on the card use flowers. So between like numbers, 44%, and flowers at 42%, try not to pass those kinds of tiles in the Charleston. Unless you have a really well-developed hand, then you can take on the risk. But it really depends on the level of hand development you've achieved. Now, before I move to the next slide, I just want to mention about passing 2 wins and passing 2 dragons. We all know that passing pairs is not ideal because American Mahjong is a game of multiples. If you pass a pair, you could fit right into somebody's hand and exponentially improve their hand development. And it could put them way out in front and leave you in the dust. So we don't want to do that. But also when you pass like numbers and even 2 wins or 2 dragons, those are like, they're in a similar level of risk as like numbers. So try not to pass 2 wins together. Try not to pass 2 dragons together. Try to break them out if you can. So plan your passes to mitigate the risk. That's your second priority. Top priority is hand development. Second priority is passing defensively. All right, now let's talk about the first tactic. The first one is to optimize. Optimize is to make perfect, effective, or functional as possible. And that is, with American Mah Jongg, targeting multiples, because American Mah Jongg is a game of multiples, as I showed you in that graph. So if these were your tiles, you can see we have 3 multiples in here. We have a 1-band pair, 3-dot pair, 5-dot pair. So whatever you play, you're going to play something that will use those multiples. It really simplifies decision making, because all you have to do is search your hand for multiples. Start there. Just whatever you do, use the multiples. That is going to optimize hand development, just because of the nature of the game, the design of the game. It's all about multiples. The next tactic is to maximize. Sometimes when you don't have multiples, you're going to look for a predominant pattern in the hand. So in this example, we have a lot of 3-6-9. 3-6-9 would be ideal because we're using most of our tiles. You want to maximize your potential. And hopefully we'll get a multiple in here, then we'll optimize and maximize. So you want to use most of your tiles, especially if you don't have a multiple. If you got a multiple, find a category that will use it with most of your tiles. If you don't have that, look for the predominant pattern, which is this maximize tactic. Look for the predominant pattern. When the multiple forms, though, you want to reassess, target the multiple, and then find a category that you can focus on with most of your tiles supporting that multiple, and then let the other tiles go. The third tactic is to streamline. This is when you focus on consecutive runs, because sorry, that would be my dog, Riley. Sorry about that, Riley. Hold on, Riley. No, that is not. It's completely unnecessary. There's nobody even here. A car drove by. Okay, so streamlining. Streamlining is when you focus on consecutive run. If you look at the consecutive run category, it's second in number to odds. A lot of hands are in that category. But the other thing about this category is that it spans up to 5 numbers. And if you look at the tiles themselves, you've got 3 numbered suits, 1 through 9. So you're going to have a lot of flexibility there. And that's why consecutive run is a powerhouse. So by leveraging that flexibility, you streamline, you give yourself that ability to flex your hand. So in this case, we've got 3, 4, 5. We could also maybe play, let's see, 7, 8, 9. There's not as many tiles. So we would want to find the number range that would maximize the hand development, which would be 3, 4, 5, because we've got 2 runs with 3, 4, 5. So there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 3 more tiles with 3, 4, 5 than 7, 8, 9, even though we have 2 9s. We've got 2 3s, 2 4s, and 2 5s. So 3, 4, 5 would be the ideal focus with these tiles. We streamline. And we don't know what hand we're going to play yet. It doesn't matter. You don't need to pick a hand till you run out of discards. Here we have lots of discards. All we need to focus on is gathering tiles so that we have enough fodder to develop a hand. Okay. Riley says hi. Oh, no. Riley, hold on. Riley, that's it. No. Stop. No. No. Riley? All right, so that's why. Riley, come on. Right here. Come on. No, Riley. Come here. Come on. Right now. Come on. Go. Go. Right here. Go lay down. Go. Oh. All right. Sorry about that. The reason why he does that is because my neighbor lets their big old Labradoodle run off leash in the front yard, and it upsets him. So anyway, all right, here we go. So streamlining. You want to be as efficient as possible, and then set yourself up for success. And whatever comes in through the Charleston, you're going to continue to gather and then go with the flow. Okay, so now here's the consecutive run category, similar to the previous slide. We have 11 hands in that category, but the thing is though, there are consecutive runs elsewhere on the card. For example, you can see in Winds and Dragons, there are 3, let's see, well, if you look at the double lines or double options, line 3 and line 5, you've got 2 hands that use consecutive run. So that's just a super quick example of where you can find runs outside the consecutive run category. So there are more than 11 hands that use consecutive runs. All right, so now when we talk about optimizing, maximizing, and streamlining using consecutive run, somehow my slide went backwards. Here are the different categories that use consecutive runs. They're all over the card. So when you are using those tactics, you can optimize by targeting multiples, maximize by using most of your tiles, and you can streamline by playing consecutive run. If you use all 3 together, stack them, that's a power play. And you have a very good chance of exponentially improving your dealt hand and setting yourself up for success after the Charleston. When East discards that first tile, you could maybe have just a few discards, pick a few keepers from the wall, and be ready to win by the middle of the game, let's say. That's ideal. When you are looking for hands to play, there are a couple of options that I just want to share with you. One is the hands of slight resistance. I see on social media often where new players to the game ask for the easiest hands to play. The easiest hands to play are those with 2 pungs and 2 kongs. I like to call that a hand of, well, actually this one would be hands of slight resistance, where you have a pair and 3 big multiples or 4 big multiples, depending on which hand you're playing, like the concealed consecutive hand. Big multiples with only 1 pair. So that would be a hand of slight resistance. I like to call that loaded. Okay, it's a loaded power play. If you can add to optimize, maximize, and streamline, and then you have a hand of slight resistance with only 1 pair, you're going to be relatively indestructible. And then another option is to go fully loaded, which is when you play a hand of least resistance, where you have a hand with no pairs, all big multiples. Those hands are indestructible. You can use any number of jokers and you will not be disqualified. If you have 3 exposures, all big multiples, and your last block is a big multiple, nobody can disqualify you from the game. So those I call hands of least resistance. They're fully loaded, so you can add to your power play by focusing on hands that are of slight resistance and least resistance. And we'll do some examples in gameplay with commentary. So after you've gone through the Charleston, there's a way that you can measure results, not only to see how your decision making is improving, but also give yourself an idea of how you might stack up to your opponents in the game, 1 game at a time. Here's how you do it. If you have more than 4 discards, you're likely going to be an underdog. So you want to take a low risk approach. If you are a contender and you have, let's say, 4 discards, you could take on a little more risk. And then if you have less than 4 discards, consider yourself to be a front runner and play to win regardless of risk. So your position is going to determine the level of risks that you can take in the game. Now, this is not a guarantee that you will win, but you're going to optimize your winning potential. So if you're an underdog, low risk, contender, moderate risk, front runner, play to win. Push to win regardless of risk. So here's a couple of examples so you can see what I mean. So after the Charleston, here's a hand. We've got a flower, 3, 4, 5 in BAMs, 1, 2, 3 in cracks with a pair of ones, 2, 3, 4, 5, pair 4, pair 5. So we've got 1, 2, 3 multiples in here. We could play, sorry, I've got hair tickling my face. So we have 3 multiples in here. That's a strong hand, but we're in between hands. We have way too many options. So I'd say this player would be an underdog until we pick a hand. You don't have to pick a hand until you run out of discards. So this player could, for example, play any one of these 3 hands. 3-1 with the flowers. We could play hand 4. Let's see, that would be 3, 4, 5, double run. Then we could also play number 6, pung, pung, kong, kong, 1, 2, 3, 4. So until we pick one of those hands and whittle out some of these discards, we're going to be an underdog. Here's another example, year number 4. This is a concealed hand, but we have a gap. We have no south. The nice thing here is we do have jokers to help with the east-west, but until we get that south, we have 5 discards and a gap, we're going to be an underdog. Filled in that gap, maybe then discard, you might be able to bump up to contender. But until that gap is filled, you want to consider yourself to be an underdog. For consecutive run here, this example, this is a concealed hand as one option. 7-8 BAM, 7-8, let's see, wait a minute. 7-8, consecutive run number 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, concealed. I need to change this slide because 7-8 BAM, 7-8 dot, 9 crack pair. So I'm not sure why I've identified 7s as discards. I think because we could also maybe play that 4th hand down, single pair Kong. So I think there's a mixture here. But we would be an underdog, I think, for the either hand. So here's the discards for 7-8 9 number 4, 7-8 9 double run. We would have 4 discards, so we would be a contender. Here's an odd number 1 hand, odd 1, odds number 1, 1 suit, 1 3 5 7 9. We've got 1 2 3 4 multiples, but we do have weakness with that 1 crack that needs to be a pung, and the 5 crack needs to be a Kong. We've got 4 discards, so we would be a contender here. We can't call anything, but at least we have our pairs, the 3 and the 7. Here's another example of consecutive run, 7-2, 1 2 dot 3 4 crack. We have 3 discards and joker bait. Now, joker bait is a hit or miss strategy, so try not to rely on that and be prepared if it doesn't work. It's hit or miss. Here, I would say we could be a front runner because we're playing a hand of least resistance. We can use any number of jokers. And in this case, 1 good pick and we'll be set. Right now, we could pung the 1 and the 2, Kong the 3 or 4. So if we get 1 more good pick for the 3, 4, we would be able to claim a discard for every one of these blocks and be ready to win in a short order. So I hope that helps. I don't think I have one more example actually here. 2 4 6 8 number 2. We have pair pung Kong. We can act on every block. That's what I call being set. We can pung the 4 crack, pung the 6 dot, and Kong the 8. We have only 3 discards, so we would be a front runner on this hand. So we can take on risk. You can take on risk, for example, if someone throws a 6 dot in the very first couple of discards, and you're okay to risk that joker because you're so far into your hand development that that risk is not going to hurt you if someone else gets a joker because you're going to be ready to win in just a few picks as a best case scenario. All right, so now we're going to do gameplay with commentary at I Love Maj. I Love Maj has a wonderful exercise room. If you've not tried playing here yet, when you register, use MAHJLIFE to get an extra week in your trial. So I'm going to go ahead and go to I Love Maj, and we're going to play. I hope you find that helpful. We're going to talk about these tactics. Hopefully we'll have opportunities to do power plays, loaded and fully loaded, and I'll talk through it with you. So let's see. Let me share my screen and we'll get to the game. We're going to go up here. All right, so here's I Love Maj. I'm going to scroll down to the exercise room. This is where they have all these skill builders, and you're welcome to come over to I Love Maj and give it a try and see ways that you can build your skills using these fun gamification opportunities. We're going to go into Charleston practice. And we'll do this maybe 2 times, and then we'll play with robots. And we're going to focus on hand development using those tactics that I shared during the Charleston. So here we have our first dealt hand. We have Northwest Green Dragon, pair, White Dragon, 5 bam, 3, 4, 6 in cracks, 1, 4, 8, 9 in dots with a pair of 9s. So if these were your tiles, what would you focus on? I'll give you 10 seconds to think about it, and then I'll share what I would do if these were my tiles. If these were my tiles, I would start with the 9s and probably the dragons, because those are the multiples. I don't know what hand I'm playing yet. It really doesn't matter, but I have a lot of discards. So I would look for ways that I can use some of these tiles with the 9 dot and the green dragon. One tile I could use is the 8. Maybe we could play that second hand down, 8, 9. There are some 3, 6, 9 hands too that we could maybe play, and I would probably stop there because we need to pass tiles. So I would pass one of each suit. It's a little bit risky with a 4 or 5, but we do the best we can with what we have left over. We got to focus on our own hand first, then do the best we can with what we have left over. So right now we're optimizing because we're targeting multiples. So this would be optimizing. If we were to maximize at the moment, we could maybe even play Winds and Dragons, or we could play 3, 6, 9. That would be maximizing, but we're not going to be able to use all these tiles. So we need more fodder. Okay, now we have a West pair. We have 2, 8, 4, 8 crack. That is in our range if we ever did like 6, 7, 8, 9, for example, but we have no 7. That would be a gap. I think what I would do here is probably let the West go and continue to gather. Okay, now we have a 7. So that might help with 6, 7, 8, 9. So if we target the multiple, oh, look, we got a 3 too here. So we have 3, 6, 9 or 6, 7, 8, 9. So if these were my tiles, I would streamline. This is where that streamlining tactic comes in because you've got so much flexibility with the run, that efficiency with a range of numbers, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think what I would do is let the wind go, and probably I'd let one of the 3s go, or maybe, yeah, let's let the 3 go. And at this point, we have to let something else go. I think I would let the dragon go. We could still play 3, 6, 9 in 2 suits, or we could play 6, 7, 8, 9, which would be streamlining. Okay, so now we have 2 multiples, 9 dot, 6 crack. We have a 3, 3, 6, 9, still have a gap, no 6 dot. So I wouldn't pick a hand. We're going to keep going. It seems like the West keeps going around. We gave them a dragon and I believe a West. So let's see here. Let's give them a North. We keep getting the West. So here's one with a West, and then we need to let something go. We have 6 crack pair, 9 dot pair. To me, 3, 6, 9 is going to be the way to go. That would be optimizing, maximizing, not streamlining. Streamlining is 6, 7, 8, 9. So we need to let something go here. I would not pass 2 ones, and I would not pass 2 wins either, a pair, no less. I think what I would do here is let the 8 crack go. Okay, we got the 3. Well, now we have another pair in here though, 7 bam. Anytime you develop a new multiple, reassess. So we do have some big odd potential. 5, 7 bam, 9 dot. No 7 though, still. We have 2 discards clearly that we can let go of. So I think what I would do here, 7, 6, 7, 8, 3, 5. I think I would let the 5 go. Without a 7 dot, that 5 bam is useless. Okay, so now we have a 3 bam. We have like numbers with 1s that we clearly don't need. We have a lot of 3, 6, 9 in here. I think I would focus on 3, 6, 9 of some kind. I would not pass like numbers with 1s. Probably I'd break up the 7s. So let's pass 3, pass a 7 with a 1 and an 8. Okay, so we have, if we're playing a 3, 6, 9 hand, we don't know yet what hand we're playing. We don't need to know. We're on a need to know basis, and we don't need to know right now because we've got lots of discards. We have 5 discards and we don't know what hand we're playing. So we're an underdog. We would be an underdog in this case. And that's okay. I've gone from being an underdog to a front runner in 5 picks from the wall. So try not to be discouraged. If you're an underdog, you can come up from behind. All right. So now we're going to do another one. Let's see if we can. Oh, this will be a good one because we've got multiples that don't go together. We have 2 crack pair and a 7 dot pair. If these were your tiles, would you focus on 2, 3, 4 or 2, 3 of some kind? We have no 4, we have no 1. So 2, 3 of some kind, or would you focus on 6, 7, 8? I'll give you 5 seconds. Let me know which set of numbers you would use in chat. 2, 3 or 6, 7, 8. I would play 6, 7, 8 because that would maximize. So we're going to target the multiple. So we're going to optimize. We're going to use most of our tiles, which would be 6, 7, 8. And we're even streamlined because we're playing consecutive run. 6, 7, 8. And we don't know what hand we're playing. Let's see. Wait a minute. We actually have more tiles in 2, 3, 4 or 2, 3. We have more tiles with 2, 3. One more. Just one. So let's see here. 2, 3. I think so. I'm going to change my mind. We have 1 extra tile. Now, some people might think, what about 2, 4, 6, 8? There's no 4. Without a 4, that would be a gap, and I would not. You want to avoid gap hands. So I would probably pass the 6. I would not pass 2 dragons. That's almost as risky as passing like numbers, which is almost as risky as passing a pair. We have all the 8s, but we have a pair of 7s. So probably what I would do is let one of the 8s go. Okay, we have a 2 and a 1. Clearly 1, 2, 3 of some kind. Let's let the 8 dot go. Like numbers with 2s. If we played like numbers with 2s, maybe keeping the dragon would be good. Let's break up the 7. Oh, and let's put a different suit in there. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, maybe like numbers with 2s. We got a 2, and there's a 7 dot again. So now we have to make some choices. We have 2, 3 bam, 2 crack, and 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. Let's let the 1 go. I'm thinking like numbers. Okay, so now there's a 1. Here's a dragon. We're going to keep going, and we have tiles we can pass. Now here we have a 7, 8, and 1 suit. That's a bit risky, but we can take on that risk because of our hand development. We could play like numbers with 2s, or we could play 1, 2, 3, 4th hand down. If we maybe build up our 3 dot, let's say, but we're closest probably to like numbers with 2s and dragons. Oh, look, there's a 3. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3 bam, extra 2. I would rather leverage the multiple than break it up. So I want to keep that. So we have 2 bam, 2 crack, 2 dot dragons. We need to let something go here. I think I would go ahead and play like numbers with 2s. There's no gaps there. Here's our 2 dot. We can put the dragons where they go. Right now we have an extra 2 bam, but that's okay. Let's see here. We have 3 tiles we can pass. Okay, no keepers, so we can pass fully. We ended up with a 4 crack after all that. So now we do have some 2, 4, 6, 8 here. Some 2, 4, 6, 8, but it's really not gelling. We've got multiples with 2s. I would focus on probably like numbers with 2s. We would have 3 discards with joker bait. We do have an extra tile, but if we were to get a flower, I would probably switch to the first hand. So I would not discard that 2 bam. I would hold it. And I'd say that we probably are an underdog until we pick a hand. I'd say that probably the best option would be the dragon hand, but we need some help with our dragons. We do have joker bait. I suppose if we play that exposable hand that, well, all these are exposable, that second hand down, we have no gaps, 3 multiples, 1 is big, the pung. I'd say we could consider ourselves to be a contender depending on what happens in the first few rounds of discards. So let's see, in dragons, you have pairs set. Yep, we do. Yep, we've got the pairs, which is nice. That's a good solid start. So do you see how you can simplify decision making by using these tactics? Optimize by targeting multiples, maximize by using most of your tiles for whatever category you decide to play, or really see what you have most of and then play that category. That's maximizing. And then streamline by playing consecutive run. If you can do all 3, that is that power play, and you have a really good chance to optimize your potential. All right, so let's go ahead and play with robots. So we're going to go up now to play with robots. We'll play intermediate. And let's see if we can focus on hand development using those tactics. We'll also look for opportunities to play hands of least resistance and hands of slight resistance and talk about why those are such great hands. And then we'll also talk a little bit about position as we go, because that's going to determine the level of risk you can take. All right, so here we go. We've got joker, pair of flowers, west and south, 2, 5, 8 in bams, 3, 8, 9 in cracks, 1, 6, 7 in dots. This is a great example where you have a pair of flowers. There are flowers all over the card. Everything else is singles. So I would call this a pair of flowers with a wide spread. So I always like to look for multiple, or not multiples. We don't have multiples in this case, but I look for like numbers to help me identify a pattern, a predominant pattern. In this case, we have two eights. So I would leverage that. I'd play 6, 7, 8, 9, and that would streamline. So we're going to focus on some form of 6, 7, 8, 9 consecutive run. We don't know yet what hand we're going to play. It doesn't really matter until let's see here. Let's do 1, 2, 5. I don't want to do all 1, 3, 5. We may be able to use west and south. We're halfway to news. Maybe we'll get like numbers with eights and news. Third hand down under like numbers. Look at that. We got eights. And there's our first multiple. So I would just reassess completely. We have west, south. We have two clear discards. We have this pair of eights. Let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oops. We have this pair of flowers, though. I would leverage the pair of flowers. So I would play like numbers with eights, either the first hand or the third hand. So let's let the 7 go. Okay, now here, we didn't get any keepers. So we're targeting the 8, making it simple here. All these tiles to the right, we really don't need those unless we switch to maybe, let's say, evens, but we have no 2. That's a gap. So I would lower that on the option list. Even though it looks good, we have no 2. We have a 2 now. So let's just reassess, because now we have some potential for 2, 4, 6, 8. So let's just see what we have here. 2, 6, 8 in BAMs, 4, 6, 8 in dots, 8 crack pair, west, south, and a pair of dragons. We have a joker. So I would not consider playing a pair hand. The first pair hand, I would not do that because we have a joker. Can't use jokers in that category. So I would choose something where I can use the joker. We have this pair of flowers. We have the pair of eights. So that's where I would focus. Maybe like numbers with eights with news. And that gives us tiles to pass. I would say, even though we have potential for 2, 4, 6, 8, it's not quite gelling. So I would let it go. A hand really didn't reveal itself. We have some potential for see, the 8 crack is the pair here. If we had a 2 crack, I maybe would play that second hand from the bottom on the right, but we don't have the right 2. It's just not gelling. We have a hand here with no gaps, like numbers with eights. So that's what I would focus on. Okay, so here's 2, 4. The west can go, that is a pair, by the way, but it's not helpful with most of our other tiles. We have 2, 4, bam, 8. We let a 6 go. I would just continue, focus on the 8s. Okay, and now we can just let these go here. Let's see, the 2 can go. Okay, so we picked up an east. That's nice. And we have three tiles we can pass here. 1, 2, 4. We have like numbers with eights and an option. All right, so we ended up with 4 discards, a hand with no gaps, and an option. I'd say we're east, so we have an extra tile. Once we discard, we'll have 4 discards. I'd say we're a contender. So we can take on risk here if we need to. So we're looking for a north and more 8s. That's our tile, but we can let it go because we have another option. Okay, so 9 can go. That's our tile. We can't call it unless we play the first hand, but we have almost news. I'd rather let it go and use jokers. Okay, don't need dragons. Oh, there's a joker up for grabs. All right, here's an interesting development. We can take that south unless one of these other robots is going to grab it. Okay, so I would take it and I would focus on, I'd let these wins go now and focus on like numbers with eights and 4 flowers. We have an extra joker now, or an extra. We have another joker. So I would discard these wins next, because this player to our right, they might be playing wins. Okay, doesn't seem like it. So we're focused on just eights. Okay, we have 5 discards in a hand with no gaps. We're probably an underdog at the moment because we have 5 discards. There's a keeper. Now, with this discard, we'll be down to 4. So I'd say we can now bump up to contender. Now here, there are 8 flowers. This is the first one out. I'd let it go because otherwise we're going to have to let a joker go. And we might be able to use that joker to Kong one of these 8s. Right now, we could pung the 8 crack, pung the 8 band, and then maybe Kong the 8 dot. I would want one of these to be pure if possible. We might be able to get a pure hand in here, but I would let this go because we might be able to draw a flower. The statistic is that you're going to get 1.6 flowers in the draw. Now, if an 8 goes down, I would call, depending on what happens here. Okay, so now there's some joker bait for us. We'll see if we can get a joker out of this. Maybe Joe Curtis. Maybe Wes is playing north and south with Kongs. So let's see if we can hold that pair for a little bit. A joker. That's awesome. So now we're down to 1 discard with joker bait. If a flower goes down, I would take it. I would even Kong I would pung and Kong and push to win at this point because we've got 3 jokers in a hand with no gaps and 3 multiples. So let's pung. We're going to limit the jokers exposed. So we're going to, let's see. Yeah, we'll pung. I was thinking I'd like to see if we can maybe even get to a pure hand if we can. The only way we can do it is if we Kong the 8 crack, because that's not out yet. Okay, we're joker exchange. Here's our joker 8. Nobody took it. Okay, we have only 1 discard. We're a front runner. We're at the middle of the game now.
Joker West.
Nobody wanted the 4. No jokers up for grabs here. We don't know what Joe Curtis is doing here. Nobody wants the 1 bam, so I'm going to hold that. Let that be our ready discard. We're ready to win. We'll let that 1 go because nobody wants it.
6, 3.
Nobody wanted that. Oh, this, by the way, is a hand of least resistance. All big multiples. We're in the end game. Last wall. Somebody else might have our 8s. Maybe someone's playing evens. Okay, pung pung, pure. Okay, we have 4 more picks and 1 discard. I would play to win. Okay, so Joe's come out. Here we go. Let's pung. We're going to pung because now that'll leave us ready to win on 1 of 2 tiles. We can win with an 8 bam or a flower. Oh, shoot. Darn it. All right, wall game. But we got ready to win. Okay, so they're playing with our 8 over there. 2 flowers there. We have a flower to our left and 2 flowers to our right. So that's 2, 4, 6, 7, and 1 was discarded. So we would have needed another joker. All right, so what did you think of that game? I think it was good. We used optimize for our tactic, optimize, maximize. We did not streamline, so it was not a power play, but we did get ready to win by the middle of the game. We just couldn't get our flower or 8 because it was being used. The flowers were being used. All right, let's play again. Okay, we have a flower northeast, green, red, singles, 3, 5, 9 in bams with a pair of 3s, 1, 5 in cracks, 4, 5 in dots. So if these were your tiles, what would you focus on? If these were my tiles, I would go for a power play. 3, 4, 5. Optimize by targeting the multiple. Maximize by using most of our tiles for one of the categories. 1, 2, 3, 1. We could maybe play little odds, so I would hold the 1. We maybe even be able to use the dragons. 1, 3, 5 offsuit dragon. Second hand from the bottom. Nancy, we moved on. I don't even remember what do you mean taking the flower? I don't even remember. Oh, do you mean like way at the beginning? No, I would not have. I would have waited because there are 8 and the chances were that we would draw more. So no, I don't regret not taking that flower at all. But that's a good question. Okay, so we have 2 discards. So I would not pass 2 wins here. I would let something in here go, probably the 1, and focus on 3, 4, 5. So we're optimized, maximized, and streamlined. That's a power play. So here we have 7s, not helpful. So I would just let these go. Let's give the north and then the 7. And here I would let the dragon go because having number tiles has much more flexibility than dragons. So we're going to let the dragon go. And I think I'll keep the red. So we're not going to pass a corresponding dragon in our next pass. My hope is that we're going to get keepers. We did not get keepers. We're looking for 3, 4, 5. So now let's see here. We want to pass defensive as we can. 7, 9, different suits with a wind. Okay, now have you noticed this trend in here? We're getting a lot of 7, 8, 9. A lot of 7, 8, 9 was going around. So we're going to switch. No little numbers came through. So let's switch and just see what happens. We're going to hold big numbers. Let's keep 5, maybe 5, 7, 9, big numbers. So let's break up the 3 and hold big numbers and see what our result is going to be. We had no movement in the first round. This is why you don't want to just omit the second Charleston. Look at that. We got a multiple. 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we're streamlined. 4, 5, 6, 7. We don't need the 3. I'd probably let the 9 go. And I know 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, we're all going around. So I would want to keep it low or keep it high. 5 through 9. And now we get the 2s, but that's okay. No regrets. We've got a lot of tiles to work with here. There's a big number. And we have 3 tiles we can pass. So just in 3 passes here, look at all the fodder we now have. We did not have a lot of tiles there. So we ended up with 5 through 9. I wouldn't pick a hand. We're going to continue to gather. So I'm getting a lot of dinging here. Hold on. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we're not in a position to call anything right now. So we're just going to gather. We're an underdog until we pick a hand. We're not going to pick a hand until we run out of discards. So now we have 7, 8 consecutive pairs. So whatever we play, we're going to use the 7 and the 8. We're going to optimize by targeting the multiple. We're using most of our tiles, so we're maximized, and we're streamlined playing consecutive run. 5 through 9, it's a bit of a long range. You want to narrow that to 4 numbers in a range around your multiples. So probably the 5s are going to go. 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is really what we're looking at as far as the predominant pattern. 6, 7, 8, 9. So the 5s will go. They're isolated, these two anyway. We have no 6 crack. We have no 5 or 6 dot. Right now, 6, 7, 8, 9 is what I would focus on. We actually do have a hand in here, 6 bam, 7 dot, 8 crack, mixed suit Kongs, third hand down on the right under consecutive run. Don't need a 2. So nobody kept the little numbers that were going around in the Charleston. There's a 3 crack Kong though. Okay, we definitely don't need that. Don't need more. So they're doing, it looks like either 1, 2, 3, 4 or 1, 3, 3, 5. We're going to let this 5 crack go next. Oh, they didn't want it anyway. Let's let the 2 go. Okay. We're good. We're still gathering. 5 or 4 crack. Let's let that go. Oh my goodness, they got ready quick. We gave up these little numbers. It helped them build their hand. Maybe that was not such a good idea, but you never know. All right, let's go. All right, so now we have a wide spread. North can go. We have 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2. We have 2 2s, no 3. So with these, would you focus on the 2s or would you focus on 6, 7, 8, 9 or 5 through 9? Put little numbers or big numbers in chat. I would focus on 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's see, maybe, oh yes, we could do that. North 4, 1. So there's our first multiple, 9 bam pair. So let's let the 1 go with a 3 and the 2, one of each suit. We want to focus on our own hand development first and then do the best we can with what we have left over. Let's see, 5 bam. We have 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6 dot. We have 5 through 9 there. I would let that dragon go. Okay, now there's an 8. We have 8, 9 pair. We have a pair of 8 cracks. I would keep going. Let's see. So 7, 8, 9, 7, 8. Let's let the 5 dot go. Here's a 6, 7. 6, 7 crack, 8, 9 bam. Second hand from the bottom on the right under consecutive run. Pung, pung, kong, kong. That's a hand of least resistance. Let's see here. 8, 4, 7, 8, 9, 8, 9, 8. We have no 9 dot. I would be, or 9 crack. I would be tempted to play that third consecutive pair hand, 9, 9, 8, but we don't have enough 9s. Okay, so we have We do have a hand in here with no gaps. 6-7 crack, 8-9 bam, pung pung kong kong. We've got 4 discards with joker bait. I would say that we're probably an underdog until we get some more keepers. But we do have a hand with no gaps. Let's just see how it develops. So this would be a power play here. We have 6, 7, 8, 9. Lots of fodder. Nine bam pung now. So probably 6, 7 crack, 8, 9 bam. I'd probably focus on that second hand from the bottom on the right. That's a hand of least resistance. So this would be a fully loaded power play. Okay, so there's 2 jokers up for grabs. These robots love to expose flowers with jokers like that. So let's see if we can get a flower. Oh, we don't want a 3. Five, 6, 7, 8. I think we need to keep towards the upper end of the range. We have 6, 7, crack, 8, 9, bam, pung, pung, kong, kong. That's a hand of least resistance, hand with no gaps. I would focus there. And I'd probably commit. Let's see. The only thing I would consider is switching to the 4th hand down if we get a 9 crack. We have really 2 discards, the 6, 7 dot, before we have to make a choice. So they got a joker with that flower there. That, okay, so forget 4th hand down. There's a pure Kong. Okay, now 6, 7, 8, 9 in one suit we have. Let's let the 7 dot go. Okay, now let's let the 6 go. We have 6, 7, 8, 9 dragon. It corresponds. There's a dragon already out, so I would let it go. It looks pretty, but it's not helpful. Okay, now there's a keeper for us. 6, 7 crack, 8, 9 bam, pung pung kong kong. I would focus on that. We let that go. That's a Kong for us. We're not ready, so we're going to need a joker. And that flower went away. No joker. So that'll be a good discard. Aha, I thought they were going to call that. That's a pung for us. We're not ready. We're just going to be patient. Flower. Now we get the flower. All right, let's see. I would not hold on to this, though. There's 4 out in a Kong, plus 1 here. So that's 5. This is 6. I would let it go. The longer you hold it, the riskier it's going to be. Okay, now there's our other 8 bam. We probably should fold and block. And there's a win. All right, these robots, I'll tell you. Okay, now here we have jokers. Look at that. Okay, so we have a flower north, 6, 7 in bams, 2, 4, 5 in cracks, 3, 5 in dots. If these were your tiles, what would you focus on? If these were my tiles, I'd target the 3. So whatever we can do with the 3 dot pair. We do have 4, 5 in here, 2, 3, 4, 5 of some kind. 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd probably pass one of those and let something here go, maybe the 2, either the 2 or the 5. 3, 5, 2. Let's just let the 2 go. Okay, so now we have a 5, 3, 5. Let's see here. We have 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's really not helpful though. We need to be able to pass. I would let that 4 go. Okay, now let's see. 9 green with an east can go. Let's see. We have 3, 5. We need 4 dot. Let's see. 7 east, 6, 9. Here's 5, 6. East, 7, 9 can go. Okay, here's another 3. 3, 4, 5. No 4. We might be able to play little odds. Let's see. 5, 6, 7. There's 5, 6, 7 there. 3, 5. 3, 5 in dots paired up. Let's let the 6 go here. Okay, now we have 1, 3, 5. Let's let that 7 go. Actually, we do have some potential for 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. We have no 9 dot. That's a gap, but we could use jokers. It's not ideal. That is not ideal. Okay, so let's pass 3. Okay, well, let's see what happens. We're playing a gap hand right now. Unless we get a 9 dot or a white dragon, we could maybe play the first hand under odds or the third hand down on the left. 1, 3, 5 dragon. 1, 3, 5 dragon. Okay, so let's see what happens. We have 3 discards in a hand with a gap. Until we fill that gap, we got to take a low risk approach. We're an underdog. Okay, there's a red dragon. That's not helpful. So there's our tile. That's our deciding tile. Now we have a hand with no gaps. Third hand down under odds. Pair flowers. We've got some weakness here. Pair flower, pair 1, pung 3, Kong 5, pung dragon. We have 3 discards. Now that we have no gaps, I would say we're a front runner. We went from being an underdog to a front runner because now we have only 3 discards, but we do have vulnerability here because we need to pair those first 2 blocks. Pair flower, pair 1. So we're not out of the woods yet. It's looking better. I would hold that 3, even though it's out and there's a 1 bam out. We might be able to use that for a different little odd hand, the first or second hand down maybe. If we were to draw a 9 dot, I would consider switching to the first hand because that would then be a hand with no gaps. Let's see. There's some 3, 4, 5 in there. One bam. All right, here's another hand of least resistance, 1, 3 bam, 3, 5 dot, no gaps. So now we have an option. 1, 3, 3, 5, second hand down, no gaps. I'd say we're a contender until we pick a hand. And if we get the 1 dot or a flower, I would play that third hand down and say we could be a front runner. We just need a little more help in here. Maybe if one of the other tiles comes in for that second hand down, we could maybe play that one. Okay, in this case, well, it is a 1 crack. We could maybe keep that for a little bit. We have all little odds now. Okay, so there's the answer. I would play the third hand down on the left, and I'd say we're a front runner now that we know what hand we're playing, and we have one of the 2 pair. So now we could pung the 3, Kong the 5, and even pung the white dragon. We have 2 discards. So we went from being an underdog to a contender to a front runner. Then we had options as a contender again, and now we picked a keeper, so we're a front runner because we have only 2 discards at this point. So that was kind of interesting. Between hands, little odds, lots of options. That's why you focus on gathering and you don't pick a hand till you run out of discards. And right now, we don't have any discards technically because we could still play that second hand down. So right now we have all keepers, but we do have strength for that third hand down. That's what I would focus on. And if any of our tiles go down, I would call. Okay, now here's another change. 1-3 bam, 3-5 dot. Let's see here. We're in between. We're set for that hand, and that is a hand of least resistance. We could pung the 1 bam, pung the 3, Kong the 3 dot, Kong the 5. We're set on the other one too, but we have a vulnerability with the flower. So let's switch. We'll go with the one of hand of least resistance here. So we're optimized playing hand of least resistance. We're ready to pung and Kong. And that's primarily the reason why I switched, because we weren't seeing the dragons. Let's let that go. We did get a keeper. I think it was 6 1 half dozen the other. This one has no weakness though. Nobody wanted the 1 bam, which is already out. Nobody wanted the 3. So this one just has no risk. We can't seem to get flowers either. Okay, we're going into the end game now. We need to let this 1 dot go. Nobody wanted it. Wow. We never got a flower, and they're all going down. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 1. Now, finally, we got a keeper. All right. We have 5 more picks. Oh, geez. There's a keeper. All right, so now we're ready to win on a 1 bam, 3 dot, or 5 bam. That's a triple weight. We're waiting for one of 3 tiles now. That's one of the beauties of playing a hand of least resistance, because you've got 4 big multiples. Depending on how many jokers you have, you can increase the strength of your weighting tile. In this case, we're ready to win on 1 of 3. So we have a very good chance of winning, even with only 2 picks left. Of course, now these robots are throwing all their jokers. There we go. So we got Mahjong with a joker. All right. So it looks like the player across from us maybe switched to defense. They have a 1 bam and our 3 dot. All right, so let's play the next game now. Okay, that was a fun game. All right, so now we have joker, flower, northeast, south, singles, green dragon, a 1 bam, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in cracks with a pair of 5s, and then a 5 dot. So if these were your tiles, what would you focus on? Which category would you play? If these were my tiles, I would target the 5. 5 crack right there. 5 crack. That's a multiple. So we're going to optimize by targeting the multiple. Then we're going to keep the tiles that can support it. We can do 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8. We could maybe play like numbers with news. And we have 2 clear discards. So we have to let something go. I would probably let the 8 go and focus on one of the options, 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 4 through 7, depending on what comes in, or maybe like numbers with 5s and news. Focus on 5s, consecutive run. Yep, I agree. Okay, so we did get a 7, and here's the 8. So I would streamline. We're going to optimize, maximize, and streamline. Let's break out the wins. And we're going to focus on 4, 5, 6, 7, or 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, there's a 5. Let's pass. Let's see here. Now, this is an interesting dilemma. We have either passing 2 wins or 2 8s. I would pass 2 wins before I would pass 2 8s. Just kind of turned out that way. It's not ideal, but we can take on the risk because we've got some good potential for the second hand from the bottom. We could even do 4, 5, 6, or 5, 6, 7, 1 suit Kongs, third hand down. We have a couple of really strong options in here. There's the 8. We have discards, so we don't have to pick a hand yet. Here's another keeper, potentially. So we have 5 through 9 here. Let's let the 4 crack go. 5, 6, 7, 8, pung, pung, Kong, Kong, or 5 through 9. We could play that first hand under consecutive run. Okay, so we have 3 tiles, and I would risk that, 5, 6, because we have a nice strong hand. We could play either the first hand on the right under consecutive run, or we could play 5, 6, 7, 1 suit Kongs, third hand down. We could also play the second hand from the bottom on the left. I think all have equal potential. We have 3 discards and options until we pick a hand. I would say we are a contender until we pick a hand. Once we pick a hand, I'd say we could be a front runner. And I would wait to see what comes in or what goes down before I make that choice. We're just going to get there until we're forced to make a choice. Okay, there's an exposure to, so that's high risk right there. A Kong with 2 jokers. And it's a robot, so we don't know why they would do that until we see their hand. That's pretty risky, though. Oh, would 2 wins be preferable to pass to passing the flower? Yeah, I think so. Even when you know consecutive run is likely. Yeah, I would pass 2 wins before I would pass a flower because there are not as many wind hands as there are hands with flowers. Oh, that was our tile, by the way. We could have punged that. If another 9 crack goes down, we could consider it. Right now we have we have a weakness with our 6 crack. We need to Kong the 7 if we play the first hand. So let's see if we can get a keeper in here before we make a choice. So that's our tile. It would be maybe a pair or pung. It's the first one down, so I would let it go. So we're going to take it pick by pick. Now is when I would decide. 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I would let it go because of the 6 crack. That 6 crack, if we pung that 9 for the first hand, we're vulnerable with the 6 crack. That needs to be a pair, and there's already 1 out. I would rather play 5, 6, 7, 8, hand of least resistance, virtually indestructible. So I would let it go. and I would let this go too, and play 5, 6, 7 flower, or 5, 6, 7, 8 pung pung kong kong. That Wes really likes to play wins. Seems like they always play wins. Somebody got a joker and I don't know who. Okay, let's see. 4, no, we don't need this 4. I was thinking we could do 4, 5, 6, 7, but we have a pair of 8s. Okay, now we make a choice. I would go ahead and Kong, expedite hand development here, and I would let this flower go now. We have 5 crack pung, so I'd let the flower go and play 5, 6, 7, 8 pung pung kong kong. So the 1.49 in cracks, those are discards. We can't call anything right now, so we need to continue gathering. There's 2 jokers up for grabs right now. We're still in the middle game. Okay, so we have this. Let's see. They need that 4 crack. On the left, Agata, they are playing that first year hand, and we have a 4 crack. That 4 crack is going to be super risky. We may need to fold. That's a bummer. We're going into the end game after this round. That's our tile. We would need a joker now. Joker. They were ready to win on a 4 crack right here. So I would have folded, but it was a little painful because we got this joker now. We still needed another keeper in here. So we were probably an underdog compared to everybody else. We had 1 discard and really 2 discards. So we were the underdog at the table. Okay, now let's see. We have South 2, 3, 9 in bams, 3, 4, 8 in cracks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 in dots with a pair of 1s. If these were your tiles, what would you target? What category would you play? These were my tiles. I would target the 1 dot pair. It's our only multiple. 1 dot pair, and I would hold 2, 3, 4. That would be optimized because of the pair, maximized because we're using most of our tiles for 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4 of some kind. So we're optimized, maximized, streamlined. That's a power play. So let's see if we can get some more keepers in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got a 3. Here's a 5. We have 1 through 5. In mixed suits, a 5 number range is too wide. If you look at the hands that we have to choose from, in mixed suits, it's 4 numbers in a range. The only 5 number range is with 1 suit, and we have mixed suits. So something's got to go here. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, pung, pung, kong, kong, hand least resistance in 1 suit. That's probably what I would focus on. Okay, so here we do have tiles we can pass. Okay, we have a 1, 2, 3 in there now. I would keep going. Okay, now, Joe, our opponent across from us stopped the Charleston, so we're going to decline participating. The only reason they would stop the Charleston is because they have a well-developed hand. So we're going to say no. And we have 1 discard and 1, 2, 3, 4 in here. So I would just continue to gather and see where the multiples form and make the decision as we go, pick by pick. I wouldn't pick a hand right now. We've got options. We're going to be an underdog until we pick a hand. Okay, there's a 4 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, probably pung, pung, kong, kong. And we have 6 discards. So even though we have a hand with no gaps, second hand from the bottom on the left, we have 6 discards. So we're going to be an underdog. But if we get good keepers in this first round, or first, let's say 5 picks from the wall, 1 already went away. 4 discards up there means that's 1 round of picks. So if we, in the next 4 picks, get keepers, we could probably bump up to contender. Okay, we don't want an 8. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what? We do have some potential for that consecutive pair hand. Third hand down, 1, 2, 3. We'd have to throw away a pair of 4s. Well, that's an interesting keeper. 1, 2, 3, 4 dragon. Fourth hand down, fifth hand down under consecutive run. Let's let the 4 crack go. 1 bam just went down. That could be useful. Second hand down. Okay, so let's let the idea of the pair hand go. So we have 4 discards and options. Until we pick a hand, I'd say we're still an underdog. Okay, 1 crack went down. There's a joker. We have 3 discards and options. So I'd say we're a contender at this point. We could maybe play that second hand from the bottom, hand of least resistance. Oh, that 1 dot just went down. We could have punged that, but that's okay. We're going to wait. We could still maybe play one of the dragon hands, and we need a pair of 1s there. So just wait out a little bit. The 1 dot goes down again, we're going to have to make a choice. If a 1 dot goes down, I'd probably take it. Okay, we got a 3. Pung. Oh, shoot. Well, see, look, Joe, they were close. I'm not surprised. They stopped the Charleston. We got pretty close, though. Second hand down, fifth hand down, and sixth hand or seventh hand down. We made some good progress. All right, we have a couple of jokers, dragon, green dragon, 2, 6, 9, and bams with a pair of 2s, 2 crack, 1, 4, 6, 8, and dots, pair 8. If these were your tiles, what would you focus on? I would focus on 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8 of some kind. Okay, so let's focus on 2 suits. We even have a hand in here with no gaps. 2, 4 bam, 6, 8 dot. There's 2, 4, 6, 8 in 1 suit. I would focus on a hand with no gaps. 2, 4, 6, 8. We've got jokers, 2s, 8s, evens. Yes. Let's see here. 2, 4 bam, 6, 8 dot, no gaps. We need to focus on passing here. Let's pass the 2 dot. 2, 4 bam, 6, 8 dot. First hand. Okay, let's see. We can keep going. 7, 5, 8. Okay, we got keepers. That's nice. Only 3 discards right now. 2, 4, 6, 8, pom, 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 pom. Okay, we have 3 tiles to pass. I would risk it. So we have 3 discards in a hand with no gaps. We actually are set. I'd say we're a front runner on this one. First hand under evens. Geez, look at that. A pure calm of flowers. How come I can't get flowers like that? Super quick, pure exposures there. That's crazy. We need to expedite hand development here. Try to catch up. We have another, it looks like we have a front runner at the table over there. So we need some keepers in here. All right, we know what they're playing now. They're going to need a joker for their 1. They need a 1 crack. They're going to need 2 jokers. Oh, shoot. Oh my gosh, this one of the things about playing here, ignore, 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 and all of a sudden a tile goes down, you click ignore out of habit. That just happened. Thankfully, there'll be more, but that's one of the things I kind of catch myself on. So I let a tile go by mistake. We needed to pung that. Okay, we got a keeper. Try not to put your mouse by that ignore button. If you put your mouse away from it, you'll be less likely to just hit it out of habit. I have to tell myself that. Okay, there's joker bait with the 7. Okay, we're gonna Kong. Oh no, are you kidding me right now? Oh, oh, we got the 1 crack. We have 1 discard. Oh my gosh. Really? Okay, I want someone to throw a 1 crack. We're in the end game now. I would probably fold. They got it. Oh my gosh, dang it. Ah, we might have been able to offset that if we had called that 4. That was an error. All right, here we go. So now, what do we got? We got a pair of dragons. Pair of dragons. So target the multiple. What would you focus on with the rest of these tiles? We have a dragon and a pair of dragons. If these were my tiles, I think I would maybe try for a year hand. Let's see, maybe we can do 2, 3, 4 of some kind. 2, 3, 4, 5. No, 2, 3, 4. This is a little bit risky here. Maybe what we could do is hold, no, let's see. Hold the 7 and let the dragon go. Okay, so we do have a lot of 3s now here. Okay, here's a 2. We have tiles we can pass. 2, 3, 4, maybe a year hand. No keepers, although there is 2, 3, 4, 5. This would be maybe the 5th hand down under consecutive run. I guess I would let the 2 dot go. Focus on the dragons, yes. I think so. Now we have threes. Okay, so I would focus on the threes. Look at these threes. Let's see if we can get the other dragons back. We may not be able to, but look what came in, 135. 1 3 crack 3 5 dot, or like numbers with threes and dragons. I would ask for 1. Okay, so we have 2 discards. We do have a hand with no gaps with like numbers with threes and flowers, or 1 3 3 5. That's, I would not call that without another dragon in here.
9 1.
Okay, I would hold that. 1 3 5 of some kind, it looks like, or like numbers with threes.
8.
There's a pair now, 1 3 3 5. So that's what I would focus on. 1 3 3 5. 1 3 crack 3 5 dot. Pung pung kong kong, second hand down on the left.
6 down. So
Too bad the
6
soap didn't work out.
6 crack.
Actually, don't call it a soap. I call it a white dragon. Okay,
6
so we'll
crack.
let it go.
North. 6 stars.
Okay, now the white dragons are all down. Oh, Joker exchange. That worked out nice. All right, so now that we have a pair of flowers here, I would probably focus on like numbers with threes and the Kong of flowers. Use the 1 crack as Joker bait. Play like numbers with threes. Okay, so a 7 crack is going to be super risky. Let's see. These robots are crazy. They're lucky. I don't know what the deal is. Okay, I wouldn't call it. I would save my jokers for the threes. Okay, so I would pung. So we have a hand with no gaps. We have joker bait there. No, come on now. We need keepers. Move the mouse away from the ignore button.
8 crack. 9 dots. 7 dots. 7.
Oh. Okay, now this is going to be kind of risky taking that right now. I think I would wait. We don't want to give them a pure hand. Are there any 7 cracks out yet? I don't see any. We don't want to give them a pure hand. Okay, nobody wanted, they had jokers. All right, I need to step away for a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Let's see. New game. One more game. So let's see. What do we have to work with here? Flower West. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in bands with a pair of fours. 1, 2, 6 in cracks. 3, 6, 7 in dots. If these were your tiles, what would you focus on? If these were my tiles, I'd focus on the fours. 4 band pair. We have a lot of 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4. Optimize, maximize, streamline. We do have 2, 4, 6, 8 in here, evens, but we have no 8. Maybe the one we could use. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 2, 1 through 4, 1 through 5 in one suit, 1 through 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Lots of options in here. Okay, so now I would split out the wins. We're focused on the 4 band. There's a pair. Here's 2, 3. We have 2 clear discards. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pung fours. 2, 3 dot, 4, 5 bam, second hand from the bottom on the right. Or we could do 1 through 5. Let's let this 1 crack go. Maybe let that 2 go later. Here's a 2 dot, 2, 3 dot, 4, 5 bam. 2, 3, 4, 5 pung pung kong kong. Joe, stop the Charleston again? What? No. Oh, goodness. Okay, so we have 2, 3, 4, 5 pung pung kong kong, or the first hand. I'd say we're an underdog until we pick a hand. Let's just see what happens. We're going to gather. We're just going to gather till we run out of discards. We have all 1 through 5 at the moment. We can't call that right now. We have to let it go. That maybe is our tile. Well, it is our tile, but we can't call. We got to just let it go. So now here we have 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 2, 3. Let's let the 4 go. We do have 2, 3, 4 2, 3, 4 concealed, but we'd have to let a 4 bam go. 3 dot pair now. I would play 2, 3, 4, 5 and focus, because now we have 2 multiples there. We could pung pung kong, and these would all go away here. So we're playing a hand of least resistance. 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 discards, so we're an underdog at the moment. There's a keeper. I'd say we're a contender now because we've got 4 discards. We're still in the begin game, the first wall, the short wall. So we could consider ourselves to be a front runner. We still need a good pick because the 5 bam is out. We're going to need a joker there.
8 dots.
Okay, we're looking for pung pung. Pung pung, 2, 3 in dots. Second hand from the bottom on the right under consecutive run. Okay, let's let the 8 go. There's a joker for grabs. We'll pung. I'd say we're a front runner, but we're going to need a joker for that 5. This is a hand of least resistance, so it's indestructible. Really, relatively indestructible. The 3 crack pair here, I don't think we're going to see anything out of that because 1 was discarded and nobody wanted it. If nothing else, it's a good discard for later. There's a joker for grabs. Nobody wanted the 3. Oh, another joker. We can't get one. What the heck? Oh my goodness. What in the world? Well, pong, 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 handle least resistance for our friend Joe. And the player on our left was ready to win. The player on our right won away from ready. That's just crazy. These robots. I don't know what the deal is with these robots. Oh my goodness. They need to modify their programming, I think, to mimic more like humans because they are just wiping the floor with humans. All right, so now we've got 4 jokers. What do you say we force a quint? We got a pair of 2s here. Pair of 2s. We could maybe use the 3, the 1, or the 9. Let's see here. Let's give up an option. Oh, shoot, the 9 came in. Okay. Can't keep it all. Oh my gosh, we got a West. Okay, so let's let that go. We'll keep the 9. Maybe we'll come back. Okay, we can keep going here. Oh, 1, 2. Yikes. Okay, let's give up one of these wins. Okay, so there's a north. That's good. So we can let the east go. Let's do an 8 with a 1. Okay, so now dragon can go. Oh, 3, 9. The robots aren't quite as crazy in advanced mode. Really? Oh my God. That's insane. Okay, so let's see. Let's just do, we can do 3. East with a 6. All right, so we have a little work to do, but we can try for this quint. We're going to try to go big. Let's see what happens. We don't need bands. These, our number tiles need to be different. Okay, so we might be able to use that. Let's just see. We're going to try to find keepers with number tiles here. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to move it. Another Kong, pure Kong. Oh my goodness, that's insane. I can't seem to get flowers ever. Okay, don't need bands. Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. Okay, so that can go. That 4 crack can go now. All right, we need a hit. We need another multiple in here. Okay, let's see what's out there. Oh, we can just we gotta let something go. Okay, let's quint. Okay, so let the 8 go. Flower. Now we get the flower. There's a north. That's a keeper. All right, let's let that go. All right, we need another hit in here. We need a pair of something. Okay, glad I chose that one. Oh my goodness. Okay, we need a pair. Come on, pair. 5 bam. We don't need a bam. Oh my goodness. A flower. Oh, 6 bam. Okay, we can let that go now. We're in the end game. Oh, we got it. Okay, we have a pair now. Now there is an 8 dot out, so it's going to hinder us a little, but we're ready to quint the next one. Okay, let's see if we can get it. Where's the north? Uh-oh. Okay, come on now. Oh, one bam. Uh-oh. What is Joe doing? What is this Joe Curtis doing? 4 dot. Oh, it's 6 one, half dozen the other. It's one or the other. There's one of each out. Oh my goodness. Oh. Ah. Okay, now we're ready on an 8 dot or north. Come on. Come on now. Come. Uh-oh. Play to win. Oh, 4 dot. Oh, shoot. Look at that. Look how close we got. Darn it. This player on the right kept the 8. That makes no sense. All right, shall we do a speed round? Who's up for a speed round? We have 7 minutes. And then I need to take a break and get ready for another live stream at 4. You guys up for a speed round? Put a 1 in the live stream chat if you're up for a speed round. Yes, 1. You are? Okay, here we go. So, speed round. Oh my goodness. Okay, we've got 8s and 9s. Okay. Okay, Evelyn, thank you for letting me know. Okay, so we have 8, 9 consecutive pairs. So we're going to do 6, 7, 8, 9. 6, 7, 8, 9 of some kind. I would even consider playing that pair hand depending on what we get. Here's 8, 9. Let's let the 6 go. We have 7, 8, 8, 9, 7, 8, 7, 8, 9 concealed. 9 crack. We have tiles we can pass. 7 dot, 7, 8, 8, 9. Okay, so we have 7, 8, 9. We have no 9 dot, so I probably would not consider the pair hand without a 9 dot. So we're going to keep going. We're going to do, let's see here. We have 7, 8 dot, 7, 8 crack, 9 bam pair. Concealed. 7, 8, 7, 8, 9. Let's see here. Could have gone a couple of ways there. Let's see. Let's let the 9 go. 8 dot. That's a keeper. 7, 8, 7, 8, 9. Okay, we got 3. We're a front runner. We are a front runner here. We have 3 discards. And with no gaps, concealed consecutive. So let's see if we can get that before these stinking robots. Okay, we can't call anything because we're playing concealed. I like letting go of year tiles first. And then dragons if I'm not using them. We're concealed, so we're going to let everything go till we're ready to win. We've got our pair. All we need are natural tiles. We got one. So now we have 2 discards. We're still a front runner here. 7, 8, 7, 8, 9. and sealed, consecutive. That's our tile, but we're okay. We can use jokers. That was a pair for us. Are you kidding me right now? That's insane. Oh my goodness, these robots, they just, humans don't have a chance against the robots. You might consider playing with friends. I would imagine that getting beat by robots consistently game after game after game can get very discouraging. Try not to be discouraged when you play with robots because they are programmatically smart. They're smarter than humans, which it's a good way to build your skills, but it can be discouraging. So if you find yourself being discouraged, play with humans. If you want to push yourself, practice with robots, but consider that you're going to need to block and defend or fold and block more often than you would with humans because they are programmatically smarter. All right, anyway. If you haven't tried playing it, I Love Maj yet, use MAHJLIFE in the promo code so you can get an extra week for free. I am an affiliate there, so I will get a small commission if you decide to do a paid subscription. Does anybody have any questions? Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and take a break, and I'll be back at 4 p.m. Eastern time for the next Nitty-Gritty Let's Play live stream. We're going to talk about gathering intel. We're going to talk about micro expressions, body language, tile tells. It's going to be fun. You're welcome, Kimmy. Hope to see you guys here in an hour. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, consider subscribing. Click the little gray bell if you do. That way you'll get notification for when I post new videos, and you won't miss an opportunity to learn a new strategy or pick up an insight to the game that could give you an advantage at the table. Between now and the next video, may all your picks be keepers.